in a world where cinema reigns supreme. Join us on an epic journey through the silver screen. Welcome to What's New with Stu, a movie review, with your host Dave Stewart, a video podcast where every frame tells a story. Get ready for insights, laughs, and film debates. From blockbusters to hidden gems, we've got it all covered. Lights, camera, action. It's time for What's New with Stu, a movie review. And now your host, David F. Stewart.
What you want to do with it?
He got a little pretty mouth, ain't he?
That's the truth.
You're going to do some praying for me, boy, and you better pray good.
And the immortal words of the late, great Benny Hill. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, all. Welcome to another episode of What's New with Stu, a movie review. And in this episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite films of all time, Deliverance, starring Burt Reynolds, Jon Voight, Ronny Cox, and Ned Beatty. The Deliverance is a 1972 American thriller film directed and produced by John Boorman from a screenplay by James Dickey, which was based on his novel. It follows four businessmen from Atlanta who venture into the remote northern Georgia wilderness to see the Kalawasi River before it is dammed, only to find themselves in danger from the area's inhabitants and nature. Now, one of the things I learned in writing school years ago when writing about conflict in a story was man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus himself. And Deliverance has all three of these things, sometimes all going on at the same time. It's a very powerful film. If it would have came out any other year, it probably would have won Best Picture, but it came out the year The Godfather came out, which I consider the greatest film of all time, so it wasn't going to win. Burt Reynolds, who was a TV star at the time, made this movie, and this made him into a huge film star.
Where's the law, Drew? Huh? You believe in democracy, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Well, then we'll take a vote. And I'll stand by it. And so will you.
In fact, he was supposedly going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but he posed as a centerfold for the magazine Cosmopolitan, where he basically didn't show anything, but he had his hand covered over his private parts. And supposedly, he didn't get nominated, and a lot of people thought it was because of slack for posing in Cosmopolitan. I don't know if that's ever been proven, but the bottom line is he wouldn't get nominated again until Boogie Nights in 1997, another great Burt Reynolds film. But this movie kind of made Reynolds into a superstar. Reynolds who was from Georgia, was perfect in the role. He is the leader, he's the tough guy, he's the outdoorsman, he knows how to use a bow and arrow. The other three are just regular businessmen, Ronny Cox and Ned Beatty, and their film debuts. They'd never been in a movie. And Jon Voight, who was at least the most well-known of the four actors, got nominated for Best Actor in the movie Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman.
I'm walking here! Up yours, you son!
But Voight and Cox and Beatty are just going along for the ride, and it's Reynolds really kind of running the show. He talks to them about nature, about the river, and he has all these little stories and all these little tidbits to share with them. And then something terribly goes wrong that changes their lives forever.
Now let's you just drop them pants.
Drop?
Just take them right off.
I mean, what's this all about?
Don't say anything, just do it.
Just drop them, boy. You ever had your balls cut off, you fucking ape?
The rape scene was the first time that a man was depicted in a film to be raped on camera. Now, ironically, there have been other films like Midnight Cowboy with Jon Voight as an example, which did reference such a thing happening with a man. But that was more of in a flashback mode, and more of a flashback in a nightmare sequence, so to speak. But this was actually trying to bring you there what would happen if a man was raped, and it's the first time that ever happened on film. Here's Ned Beatty in his film debut, and he was asked to do this. And Beatty is unbelievable. And of course, the squeal like a pig line that came out of the film. And
Squeal. Squeal. Squeal louder. Louder. Louder.
he sure got a purty mouth, and a lot of boys are growing up when they see a movie like this. They're quoting all these crazy lines because boys have a sick, demented way of thinking about things when they see a movie like this, like Goodfellas or whatever, and they're repeating all the crazy lines. In real life, you wouldn't want to know these characters. By the way, Burt Reynolds, who should have got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, is one of many great performances in this film, including James Dickey, who plays the sheriff. He's not in a lot of scenes. Dickey, who wrote the novel and the screenplay, is superb in this film and the brief moments that he has.
Don't ever do nothing like this again. Don't come back up here.
You don't have to worry about that, Sheriff.
Obviously, the other famous scene in the film, of course, the dueling banjo scene with one of the locals. So, by the way, there were a lot of people in this film that were not actors that were used from that area in Georgia to play themselves, as John Borman decided to use a lot of locals in the film. And the dueling banjo sequence, which is one of the classic scenes in film history, and of course led to a hit song. Now, Deliverance to me is a film that is not easy to watch. It's got a queasy feeling. It leaves you unsettled. Of course, the final scene at the end of the film, which kind of is a shock scene. It's a film that basically kind of stays with you and haunts you as you kind of relate to these four guys and try to see what would it be like if you were in their shoes, if you were just, a regular guy that goes on a trip in nature and then something terribly goes wrong and everything changes. All of a sudden, the world that you knew, the civilized world that you left behind, is now uncivilized, and you've got to deal with it and the repercussions of your action and actions of others. And what would you do? It's a very, very interesting film to discuss and a very, very interesting film to watch. Anyway, so I highly recommend seeing Deliverance, a very powerful film. Just don't eat before going in. Again, not because it's like a blood splatter, violent type of film. It's not like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's just the kind of film that's so realistic that you may not want to eat too much food going in, only because your stomach might be a little unsettled. But nothing terrible with blood, but just be careful going in. Anyway, in the immortal words of the late, great Benny Hill, good night, viewers. Good night, all. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you at the movies.